Chaitanya. DUNKI is a propaganda movie. Well, way to put that out there. Appreciate the super. Mr. Nobody. Merry Christmas, Jabby. Advanced wishes for the new year as well. Hope you stay happy and blessed. As always, you are only solace in my loneliness. Well, I'm glad to be here for you. Rithik Kapoor. Worst Raju Hirani film. Well, let's take our time, okay? But I appreciate the super chats nonetheless. Where am I? There we go. Okay, so I've watched every single Rajkumar Hirani film to date that I'm aware of. So I have his film list here, and you guys can let me know if this is inaccurate. Monabai MBBS. I'm pretty sure I watched that. I'm pretty sure I watched Lage Raho Monabai, Three Idiots, of course, PK, Sanju, and DUNKI, and then Made in India is next. So, the premise alone is interesting, because I had no idea that there were Indian immigrants that go through something like that go through something that is so arduous. Now, maybe this is not educational for your average Indian viewer, but for me it was, because as far as America goes, I'm aware of immigrants struggling to get somewhere as far as like Mexico to the States, right? And so I've been aware of that for quite a long time throughout my life. And so to put it like front and center in a film, Rajkumar Hirani using his, I hesitate, I can't think of a better phrase, but using his star power to bring attention to this, I think is actually kind of cool. Shah Rukh Khan, same thing. All of them, everybody involved. I think it was cool that they used their star power to bring attention to this. And so the premise, I like the premise. You have these people who put it all on the line at the chance for a better life, and they just risk it all. Life, money, everything, and they go for it. And then along the way, half of them suffer. Okay, this is a spoiler stream. I'm just going to go into it, okay? So if you haven't seen the movie, okay, half of them die along the way, right? And it's pretty harrowing. And then, of course, the film is also about coming back to India as well. So it all comes full circle. It's all about coming back home. Just like, the NASA movie that Shah Rukh Khan did. I can't remember the name of it. I always forget the name of that one in particular. But anyway, someone will say it in the chat. So, okay, what's next here is the style. The style is interesting because it immediately reminded me of like PK and Three Idiots off the bat. It had like this silly quirkiness to the whole thing. But then I remembered, Suarez, thank you. But then I remembered with Three Idiots, it got serious at a certain point because, even though it started out quite goofy and like outlandish, at a certain point, one of the characters has so much pressure he's dealing with that he tries to eliminate himself from life. It's just too much to deal with, right? And so, knowing that, I should have expected, the kind of tone, the shift that was going to happen in the film. And so, stylistically, it was interesting because it was Rajkumar Hirani making a difficult conversation palatable. He was like, he was taking a hard-edged story and making it palatable for the masses. Because, you do that here in the States, and the approach is totally different. If not, what? Hold on. So, okay, you guys just, Garville, Mohan, just listen to what I'm saying. Stop judging me before I talk, okay? So, it was interesting to me that he's like taking this very difficult topic and making it palatable to the masses, because in the States, it's a totally different direction. You compare it to something like Zero Dark 30, right, which is done by Catherine Bigelow. That's the first thing that came to mind as this kind of like hard-edged thing. You try to imagine Zero Dark 30, a story like that, and it being approached in a sort of cartoonish fashion at the beginning of the movie, and then switching gears on you halfway through. Watching on mute without saying dunk. Okay, sorry. Some people were scaring me about sound. Anyway, it's an interesting approach to the whole thing that you would not be able to get away with in the States necessarily, but you can get away with it in Asia. So, from that perspective, I appreciate it. It does go against my American sensibilities a little bit, but I do appreciate it. So, My overall feeling with the movie is this. And, who's saying no sound? Stop saying no sound. Stop messing with me. So, my overall feeling is this. I walked out of the film going, that touched me, but there was definitely something strange about casting Shah Rukh Khan in this role. That's the short of it. And I'll dive more into that when I reach the Shah Rukh Khan part of this conversation. But, like, I like him a lot, obviously. And in the last monologue that he had, I was definitely touched. But throughout the film, I'm watching and I'm just like, why? I understand the desire to work with Shah Rukh Khan because Rajkumar Hirani and Shah Rukh Khan tried to work together before and it didn't work out with Three Idiots and something else. I forget what it was. But like Shah Rukh Khan in this role, it just felt like it could have been better served with someone else in that particular role. Someone, I hate to say it, younger. As young as Shah Rukh Khan looks and as great as he is, like it felt like he was kind of out of place with everybody else. It almost felt like an action star amongst these guys who were like villagers. To a certain degree, it's arguable because he was a soldier, but he just felt like a totally different person from everybody else throughout most of the movie. And so I disagree, Dia Mittal. I actually think he looked really good for his age. It's just that I felt like it was bad casting. Again, his acting, Shah Rukh Khan shines where Shah Rukh Khan shines. He has his moments where he's very, very strong. But then there are other moments where I'm like, okay, I can tell he's acting there. Whereas Taapsee Pannu, I bought her the entire way through. Vicky Kaushal, I bought all the way through. Everybody else, I bought all the way through. That said, though, Taapsee Pannu and Vicky Kaushal were the standouts from the other cast members. The other two that were Taapsee Pannu's friends, like 5 years from now, I'm not going to remember them. I don't think. No offense to them. It's just that like way more emphasis was placed on Shah Rukh Khan and Taapsee Pannu. But that's my overall feeling. Like I like the film and I like what it stands for. I like what it was aiming for, and I don't mind the patriotism. It's fine, because it's all about. The thing is, like what he's talking about is real. On the outskirts of London, that what he shows you in the film is not untrue, and it's also a thing over here in the States. People come to this country for a better life, and then you end up with like 5 families inside of a house. Just to survive, and they're working these difficult jobs. And what Shah Rukh Khan says to the judge in that scene of like, this is what foreigners bring to the country, I can see both sides of the conversation, and I liked what Rajkumar Hirani was trying to present, right? So the story itself, I think was a little bit wonky, because the premise makes sense, and I like the premise, and I like the trajectory of the movie. All of that is fine. It's cool, and it's actually very much like Rajkumar Hirani in terms of like the non-linear way of telling it. It was cool. It's just that like the setup took so long, and I remember with Three Idiots, I think you started in the present with R. Madhavan and the other actor, and they're like trying to find Amir Khan. And then it takes you back in time to set you up again, right? So you have 2 setups. Let me kill this poll because it's a little distracting. Sorry. Let me lower my music just a little bit for those of you guys who feel like it's still too loud. There we go. So there was 2 setups in Three Idiots, but for whatever reason, I didn't notice it as much. Now, it might be that it's because I watched Three Idiots when Indian films were still newer to me, and so I was still getting acclimated. But, I'm more seasoned now, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, yeah, this is a very long setup. Like, I feel like there's a different way you could have gone about this to make it more efficient. It felt like he was trying to do too many things at the beginning of the film. And so the pacing was feeling a little bit off for me because of that. Once it got into the adventure, I was like, okay, cool. Like, now I'm getting the sense of where this is all headed, and I'm enjoying it more. And so the latter 2/3, I felt like pacing-wise made more sense. But by the time we got to the bit where it's like, now we're coming back to the present, I was honestly feeling a little bit exhausted by the film and was like, kind of like, okay, how much more do we have here? That said, that rooftop scene at the end, near the end of the movie, like, it was hard hitting, dude. When Shah Rukh Khan's got the phone with the Big Ben clock, and he's like, okay, dude, there was a guy right in front of me who was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm trying to have the feeling of, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So, and I definitely got me. That was the one scene in the film that got me. And so anyway, so yeah, the story and pacing was a little bit wonky, but the general feeling, like I said earlier, it still won me over at the end. So, Taapsee Pannu, I kind of already touched on that. I thought that she was very strong. By the way, anyone who's super chatting, I'm going to go over the super chats in a moment. Maybe I'll take a break between all this. Taapsee Pannu, I thought was very, very strong. I haven't seen a film of hers where I'm like, she's not strong. But, you know, once again, she did very, very well. You know, I bought her as this character. Perhaps I was questioning it a tiny bit when she was older, but that can't be helped. Like, I know she's a young person, relatively, right? I know that she's much younger than that older version that she's playing. But she still was good. Like, with the makeup and everything like that, I thought that she did a nice job. Vicky Kaushal, I felt like destroyed that role. He just destroyed it. He did so good with the accent, as far as I could tell, as someone who hears, like, you know, English as a second language, Indian speakers, who struggle with the language. It sounded very authentic. I thought he did a very good job. The emotions, everything. When he did the fire scene, I was getting a little bit distracted by the effects and all that stuff. I had a hard time getting swept up in the emotional thing. And I was also thinking about, like, would he go that quick? Does that make sense? You know, because you do that action. I'm trying to be careful because it's YouTube. You do that action. Would you go just like that? You know, you suffer third-degree burns. There are people who end up in, like, car wrecks on fire, and they survive. The paramedics come and save them, and they survive. And then they got a skin graft and all that stuff. So I don't believe he would have gone that quick. That was the one part that I was just like, that's a little bit, it feels a little bit forced. But anyway, Vicky Kaushal, quite strong. All the cast was quite strong, in fact. Even though the other two characters didn't work for me, you know what I mean? Like, in terms of, like, leaving a strong impression on me. Because I was like, I don't feel anything from them. Except for maybe the guy who went to England early. And you find him and he's like the gold statue thing. I thought that was kind of cool, like, because he had a scene where Shah Rukh Khan confronts him and he goes, what's with all these photos? And you sending us fake photos and other people are, like, being lured over here and you're living in a house with 20 people, whatever. His like, dialogue with Shah Rukh Khan I thought was moving. I thought that was cool. You know, it's presenting different sides of the story. Like, you see exactly why someone would go and pursue this thing. You see how they get stuck there. You see why they can't go back. You see why they want to go back. Like, I think Rajkumar Hirani did a pretty good job of, like, showing you all the sides. It did have bias in his agenda, for lack of a better word. But I feel like he still did a pretty good job of showing you, like, the full scope of things. So Shah Rukh Khan, I kind of touched on it already. But, you know, his acting for me was a hit and miss. Not because he's bad, because he's not bad. It's just that he has a certain style about him that I don't know complemented this movie. You know, he has a sort of Shah Rukh Khan charm. Worked great in Pathan. It worked great in Jawan. But, like, here I'm like, okay, the sunglasses thing, just don't do that. Like, first off, that's a bad move. Like, I don't know why he was doing the sunglasses, because it made him look like Tom Cruise amongst these normies. And I don't think that was a good move. I thought the idea with the music video was kind of cool, where you're seeing, you know, like, them actually walking, and then, like, the sort of fantasy element of them moving around and dancing and music and singing. Like, that was cool. The ideas were cool. It's just that, like, you know, there's Shah Rukh Khan in sunglasses walking in slow motion. He looks like an action star. He looks like the dude, SRK. And it's when you're bringing attention to that, you're breaking my suspension of disbelief. You're breaking the immersion, if that makes any sense. So, but, you know, like I said, that scene at the end when he proposes, that whole scene, Shah Rukh Khan destroyed. He has a knack for, like, the ending stuff. You know, sometimes he's, like, winging it, and he's like, I don't know if he's phoning it in, but it seems like he's not quite dialed in. But, like, when it comes to the ending bits, he's always so strong. Because I remember in Chak to India, he did the same thing. He didn't have a monologue, but he was really, really, really strong in just that moment, right? So, yeah, that's how I felt about Shah Rukh Khan's acting in this. Effects and makeup. So I'm just showing you what we've been going over here. So that's the list. The effects and makeup. How did I feel about the effects and makeup? So, when they go on their adventure and they're on the boat, right? And Shah Rukh Khan's like, we're going to keep going. And they chopped up the hose. They're under the water using the hose. Again, the idea is cool. Like, I get the idea. It's cool. It's just that the look of it, the effects, it's just like it looked a little bit goofy. And like, there's really serious stuff happening, which is followed by more serious stuff happening in the desert. And that desert scene was actually pretty cool, the way it was handled. I thought the way it was shot, the little bit of action that we got, the stakes, Taapsee Pannu's acting, all the acting there. Like, I thought that all that stuff was actually pretty well executed. And you saw just how awful that dude was. It was interesting that Rajkumar Hirani held back a little bit with the violence, because like it felt like it was getting violent, and then he like pulled back, when Shah Rukh Khan cut the guy's throat. And I guess it's because he's still trying to keep it family friendly. The scene on the boat was horrifying. Like, I felt like he's doing a good job with that stuff. Rajkumar Hirani, he did a really good job with like really putting it on display of like just the awful situation that they were enduring to get to London, to Big Ben. So the makeup is more noticeable when they're older, right? Taapsee Pannu's was fine. Shah Rukh Khan's was fine. The makeup was fine. The makeup was adequate. I don't really have any major complaints about it. Maybe with the other two guys. Let me pull this up so you guys can see who I'm talking about. Where are we? We're talking about... Oh, Boman Irani did a great job, by the way. I completely forgot to talk about him. So Boman Irani, from the word go, Boman Irani, he's like... When I first saw him in Three Idiots, I kind of underestimated him. He seemed quite goofy to me, right? But then the more I watched him in other stuff, the more I began to appreciate his acting, his acting abilities. And so, watching him here, he really found a new character for himself, and I thought that was really cool. His approach to things, his reaction to things. He could have easily phoned it in and did exactly like he did in Three Idiots or something else. But he found a new character here, and a new voice, and a new way of behaving, and a new posture. Like, I thought that was all really, really cool. He did a great job. So we had oh Lord, where are we? Okay, Balli, and what's the other one? Is it this guy? I forgot who it was. It was Balli and the other guy. I think it's. Oh, why is IMDb doing this? Sorry, maybe it's this guy. I'm a little bit confused. But anyway, her two mates, the two friends, the makeup on them was a little bit goofy. It's like it's hard not to notice them. So what was the last thing I wanted to talk about? So I talked about the action a little bit. There was some action in the film. I thought the action in the tent was nice. It was nicely done. Shah Rukh Khan, like, that's, he's an action dude. The music was fine. The music, nothing in the music stood out to me as like, I want to listen to that some more. The music was okay. It was. I know that I'm sure that for many of you, the music was pretty fun, whatever. For me, it didn't do much. But the ending, that's the last thing I want to talk about, and then I can cover some of these super chats. So, not that there's even that many to begin with. With regards to the ending, I thought it was quite powerful. Normally I'm not a huge fan of bringing in real world stuff, but at the end of the film, he had the pictures and stuff, and the hold on, I'm gonna move this over so it's not so. Oh, whatever. Do that. Screw it. This is how we're doing it. He had the pictures and stuff like that, and some of the information, the statistics and whatever, and I was like, this is actually like bringing everything full circle and lets you know exactly why he came here to tell this story. And sometimes, you have movies where it's really not clear why a director or a writer or writer has decided to tell this particular story. Like, why are you spending the time to take me through this? And Rajkumar Hirani made it abundantly clear, like, this is why I told this story. This is why it's important. And I thought that was cool. The whole thing with Shah Rukh Khan flipping the guy at the end, I was like, okay, that's fine. I guess it's for fun. It's for ha-has. So those are all my feelings. Rithik Kapoor says worst. Oh, let's do the supers here. I read that. Okay. Rithik Kapoor, worst Raju Hirani film. I'd have to sit and think about that. I would say it's the one I'm least likely to revisit. Sai Susel, Merry Christmas, Jabby. And Happy New Year, Jabs, whole Cinedesi team. Did you watch Solar? Did you watch it solo or with any members of this from the Cinedesi team? So, I have not watched Solar yet, but we will. Rithik Kapoor, the Village comedy did not land for me at all. There was one part that made me laugh. I forgot what it was. There's something about... I forgot where it was that made me laugh. There was something in the film that actually tickled me. But I can't remember for the life of me right now, to be totally honest. I think it has something to do with like the English translation of like the mistranslation. Taapsee Pannu said something might have been about like a face boob or something like that. Or maybe that was... Oh, no. That was a trailer to a movie. I'm mixing the two things up. So, no, the comedy didn't really work for me either. The comedy didn't really do anything for me either. I was more about like the story and the emotions, stuff like that. You caught me having a brain fart on camera just now. I would have edited that out. Okay, so have you watched Solar? No, I have not. We want a movie reaction of Kesaria and Doom 3. I would like to watch Doom 3. Rithik Kapoor, again, how would you rank Pathan, Javan, and DUNKI? I think Javan would come first. Maybe. I don't know. It's between Javan and Pathan as the top one, and DUNKI would be last either way. And did the SRK comeback year meet your expectations? I actually thought it was cool that, DUNKI, as far as it goes, is different from the other two films that SRK has put out. Because Pathan and Javan, I could easily confuse those two. Just, because they're back to back. They're both stylized, hyper action, over the top. So when I sit and think about it for 10 seconds, I'm like, no, wait, hold on. Pathan was this, Javan was this. But, give me a year and I'll confuse it. DUNKI definitely feels like something that stands apart. And so I feel like I would be more likely to go back to Pathan and Javan before DUNKI, just because, like, I wasn't necessarily, like, looking at my watch while watching DUNKI, wondering how much longer the film is. So, Hariprasad Mahal... Oh, my God. Hariprasad Mahakali. Bit of cultural trivia. Lots of soldiers in the army regularly wear Ray-Ban aviators when they are on holiday. I'm in Chennai. Next to army base, fashion choices stand out. Maybe a reason for SRK aviators. Yeah, but okay. Here's a question. Yeah, I don't know if you want to do a follow-up super, but when they're wearing aviators, are they also wearing fatigues, or are they wearing regular civilian clothes? So Miss Megsy in the chat says, this is so awesome to see the community you've built and grown. Thank you, Miss Megsy. Very much appreciate you saying that. So, why is the chat like all off the side like that? I don't know. Not all the time, just sometimes. All right. So we have more supers that just rolled in. Amon Road. Are you going to react to 12th Fail? It's really good. I don't even know what that is. Charvari Se Chaitanya. SRK will refuse to ask asylum in the movie, but he is okay to allow other illegal immigrants on the basis of asylum. It's a contradiction. No, he's not controlling what other people are doing. Varshan, a channel member, asks, Jabby, according to you, which is the best movie of 2023? Objectively, I would say that for me, the best movie is Godzilla -1. The one that stands out to me after that is one that not that many people seem to like, which is Leave the World Behind. So SRK refusing to take asylum, that, I guess, okay, so that was a little bit interesting. I understand where he's coming from as a soldier. You know, you have your pride in his country. He doesn't want to throw shade at his own country. You know, he stood by his guns. When you see what's happened, what he gave up, like the several decades that he could have had with Taapsee Pannu, I'm like, man, I don't know. That moral high ground stuff, dude. It's tricky. It makes me feel like I'm not as good of a person because I would have totally claimed asylum. I'm like, fuck that. I'm claiming asylum. I came all this goddamn way. Dude behind the, you know, with the judgment is telling me, yo, just claim asylum and you can go right in and you're good. I'm just going to claim asylum, you know, and I'm going to eat that guilt for the rest of my life if I have to. Because, like, to go all that way to finally propose to her, for her to, like, die on you before you could even kiss her. And he never even took a wife besides her. It's just like, I don't know what that messaging is there. But it's a movie, so, you know, it's a movie. Let's see. Have you seen The Mentalist starring Simon Baker? I have not. Vicky Kaushal could have worked as the lead. I agree with you, man. I actually thought about that. Kashmik Vedecha. I agree with you. I think he could have worked as a lead. Let me switch over to the actual chat window here. There we go. DUNKI is nice, not a bad movie, according to Irfan. I agree. That's the thing. SRK never kisses. Yes, he does. Actually. Haven't you seen Zero? Bro was bamboozled. We want reaction on Dar. Okay, so I have a thing. Okay, so when I'm doing a live stream on Cinepals, I don't want to talk about Indian stuff. When I'm doing a live stream on Cinetesi, I don't want to talk about American stuff. Like, this just two separate conversations, and I don't want it to get all muddied up and you know what I mean. So ask me about God of War on the Cinepal side. Don't ask me about that here, please. So we're here to talk. If anything, we're here to talk about DUNKI. So Ashutosh Kasalkar. Hey Jabby, why have you not yet reacted to the vaccine war and Atal trailer? I don't know, dude. I just haven't. It's not like. Sometimes when someone asks why haven't you, it almost feels accusatory. There's no real reason. I just haven't. I just haven't done it. Also, it's like Christmas, so there's no supers right now, so I should switch back to this. Have you seen anything like Animal in Hollywood? Yeah, better versions of it. Because you look at something like any Scorsese film that's dealing with negative characters, usually they get their comeuppance, or the film feels like it's saying something, right? Like, take for instance a perfect example. I feel like is a movie like Wolf of Wall Street, right? And so in Wolf of Wall Street, Leonardo DiCaprio is a bad dude. He does bad things, and he goes to jail, and then he comes out of jail, and he's like this. He's leading seminars. The film juxtaposes something interesting. It shows the FBI agent who took him down on a subway, getting no glory. And then it shows Jordan Belfast, or whatever his name is, the character that Leonardo DiCaprio is playing, leading a seminar where everybody's eating out of his hands. And it's showing you, like, in the world we live in, people praise the villainous individuals. And then after that, Trump's elected. And so, I'm just saying, like, the way it's handling stuff, it feels like that's got a message. Whereas Animal, there's no message. It's just gross, For me. I know a lot of you guys liked it. Palav Roy. Sorry to go off topic, but which is your favorite SRK movie and why? Oh, gosh. Chalk to India is the first thing that comes to mind when you ask that question. I don't know for sure, though. I'd have to think about that. I enjoyed most of his films that I've seen. Even the ones that aren't liked. I enjoyed Zero, even though it's silly. I enjoyed Fan. I enjoyed Rabnibana de Jodi, Suarez. I've enjoyed pretty much all of his films that I can think of. if I was to go back to one now, Chalk to India is the quickest one I would go to. So, let's see. Jabby by The Family Man Season 3 will release late 2024. Okay. Well, I'll do my investigations myself and find out. Hold Up says, I mean, DUNKI has a lot of cons, but most of it are ignored by the target audience, which are families. Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that. One of you, my name is Con. My name is Con. Oh, my name is Con is definitely up there. My name is Con is definitely one of the strongest. So, yeah. Anyways, if you guys don't have any more questions about DUNKI, I might wrap this early. This live stream, because I just wanted to get my feelings out to you guys since I saw it. I didn't want to like delay on it. And Rithik Kapoor, have you decided not to do movie review videos for new stuff? Longer spoiler talks may not get as much views. People who want to see what I have to say will watch it. Like most people, I think. Here's the thing, okay? I'm looking at the back-end stats all the time. And so in the back-end stats, you can see how long people are staying for, when they leave. You can actually see relative to, like, when you place an ad in the video, how fast are people departing? Like, how fast are people's attentions, like, just exhausted and moving on to the next thing, right? And so anyone who's curious about what I have to say, they're probably just watching the first few minutes anyway of a long video. I don't know, dude. I'm not really super stressed about it. Yeah, because there's probably gonna be a watch along on this channel anyway for DUNKI, with Andrew and somebody else. I don't know who. Maybe Achara, because I don't think she's seen it. So, yeah. I don't. Have you decided not to do movie reviews for new stuff? Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, this is the movie review. This is just a live stream review. So. Crick Maniac and Entertainment. Would love to see Achara and Steph react to DUNKI. Well, we'll see if we can make that happen. Yeah, we'll see. So, it just depends on who's available, when it hits streaming. You know, things could change, people's availability. So, you know what I mean? Let's see. DUNKI is such an embarrassment. I mean, they donkey again as old people for nostalgia. I mean, what was that, a fun trek? I disagree with that. I disagree with that. And the reason why is because it's bringing the movie full circle. It's showing you how arduous it is just to get back home as well. You know what I mean? Like, you put yourself in a situation where you're trying to get somewhere, and then now you're positioned where you're not allowed to go back, because if you go back, you'll never be able to get back into the place you fought so hard to get to. So, you know what I mean? I thought all of that was actually kind of cool. I didn't mind that. I would disagree there. Why you make reaction video? You're not from our country. You earn money by reacting. Haha, you don't care about India. So Sahil, you're probably new. Or you've just been hating me for a while without doing your research. So I would suggest to you to like do your research on me, dude. Rather than making an assumption or a judgment on me. Do your research. I've answered all these questions, like, to ad nauseum. I've dealt with all these kinds of comments to ad nauseum, and so I'm not going to entertain it, dude. Princess Consuela Banana Feck. 1/3. Okay, hold on. Before I get to that, let me answer Amon Trivedi, because he was there first. Amon Trivedi. DUNKI is highly disappointing. I consider Rajkumar Hirani to be one of the finest screenwriters in the world, and I can't believe he made something as silly as DUNKI. Well, okay. So look at the other films objectively, because there is silliness in his other films. You know, Munabai, Three Idiots, PK. They all have a healthy dose of silly in those films. So what do you mean by the word silly? Do you mean comedy? Do you mean contrived elements? Like, what? You have to be specific. Because to me, it was actually consistent with what he's done before. It's just that the overall structure and execution of it maybe was not as strong. Princess Consuela Banana Feck. I was extremely frustrated with this movie. I wasn't engaged or entertained. I never felt the journey that they were going through. I can see that. I was feeling disengaged for, you know, in the first third of it. I was feeling disengaged myself. I was just kind of like watching. The funniest part in the whole movie they showed us in the trailer. Kartikeya Sharma, thank you for your generous super. Outsiders enter a system, question the system. System leaders try to cancel him. General public believes in him. Finally, he wins over his biggest opposers. The director used the same pitch for DUNKI like all his other films. I don't think it's necessarily the same. I'd say that they're loosely similar. I can see what you're saying. I think it bears better similarity to Three Idiots, just because it's like there's this distance between people who knew each other from way back when, and they're coming back together again. And the film like starts you in the present, then takes you back, takes you through the whole thing, then brings you back to the present for the characters to reunite. I thought it was actually ballsy as heck to end it on a downer. I really wish that he just ended it with the photos. Like, this is the shit that people go through. Here are the photos of like all the immigrants who were like fleeing to other countries, etc. And then credits. The whole thing with flipping the dude onto the ground afterwards, I'm just like, dude, you just why? Like, you didn't need that, in my opinion. But you know. So anyway, Samay ran a raid. Oh, is that real? Because that's only like 2 or 3 people. If Samay Reina's really watching right now, I miss you, dude. So, can't wait to hang out again. Where are we? Princess Consuela Banana Feck. It was just random. The montages, the reason for them to do it is not strong. I didn't feel connected to anyone. They didn't even care to act old. The messaging is quite problematic. The jokes are dated. Okay, you gotta be specific. Like, which messaging is problematic? You gotta tell me which ones you mean. So not feeling connected, I can understand that. They didn't care to act old. I would put that on SRK. He didn't seem to act old. He was just like, I mean, slightly, but I feel like everybody else is actually doing a decent job of acting older, or at least giving it a college try. Crick Maniac at Entertainment. DUNKI better than Sanju. React. I'd say it moved me more than Sanju, but between the two, I'd probably watch Sanju again first. DUNKI better than Sanju. React to Jab Tech Hejon with Steph. SRK broke his kiss rule in that. Yash Chopra's last film before his demise. Quite emotional. I would love to watch that. I feel like that really would need to be me and Achara, though, and not me and Steph. Given what you just said. Amon Trivedi. Yeah, to be specific, the messaging and arguments felt silly and convoluted. The patriotism, nationalism felt forced. You know what I mean? I don't mind the silliness and humor. Like I said, if I'm in the situation with the judge, and it's like, I know that, my way in is to lie. I'm lying. I came all this way. 3 people died so I could get this far. I'm gonna lie. You know what I mean? But maybe that just makes me not a good person or not patriotic enough. I don't know, dude. So yeah, I can see what you're saying. But I've seen way more aggressive patriotism in other movies, so this was not the worst offender by a stretch. Princess Consuela Banana Feck. Nothing was believable in the film. SRK character is very inconsistent, and his moral compass is very weird. The court scene was an absolute joke. PK is my favorite Hindi film. Very sad Hirani to make a bad film. I get what you're saying, dude. I get what you're saying. The court scene, I don't think it would have gone on as long as it did, with the judge being like... The way that people were trying to dismiss them when they were doing like the English tests, how quick the employers were trying to dismiss them, I feel like the court scene would have been all the same. I was half waiting for like, and this part is, some of this is based on a true story, So, Sai Deep Gundimeda. Thank you for your generous super. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your honest reviews. Absolutely enjoy your perspective and commentary. Ignore the hatred. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you as well. Glad you enjoy the honest review. I was actually half expecting to get a little bit more hate because here's what's interesting. When I was leaving the theater, a woman stopped me and she goes, you're a YouTuber, right? You do the reviews? I go, yeah. And I'm like trying to like clean my face up because I was just crying and stuff like that. And so she goes, I don't actually know you. I don't know who you are. It's my husband over there is the one who said that you're the reviewer. I'm like, okay. So what did you think of the movie? I'm asking her. And she's like, it was fine. It was okay. I'm like, how did you feel about SRK? She's like, he was okay in it. So I was like, okay. So my feelings were not unfounded. That was like the relief I had because she didn't love his acting in the film. And for her was like a time pass. It's like, we're just doing this because it's SRK, you know, and like we just, you know, want to go out and watch the Indian films. I'm like, all right, I get that. Chuck Bertowski. We missed 2 Patreon hangouts last month and this month. I think you should scold Achara. Also, did you watch the Jane to Ya Jane Na movie yet? No. And she's out of town, dude. She's with her family. So I can't scold her. She's spending time with her family. She works her ass off. So, rate DUNKI out of 10. I'm not going to rate it, dude. I don't rate movies anymore. I can rate specific things if you want. If you want to ask me specific things. But, like, I'm not going to rate the movie as a whole. Because I used to do that. And then people would be like, how can you rate this a 5 and then that one a 5? It's like, well, those are 2 totally different measures. Like, one's a silly movie and one's a serious movie. Uncover asks, why are you floating in the Milky Way? It's a background. What do you want? Hold Up says, SRK shined the most with his acting in the emotional scenes, while also having his weakest acting in some emotional scenes. Yes! That is accurate. That is totally accurate. Chennai Express! I love Chennai Express! Pranaya, thank you for bringing that up. Oh, that's one of my favorite SRK films. I understand that it's like grossly inaccurate to the culture of that region, but I love that movie. It's so much fun. Where are we? Ramul Sharma. Hey, Jabby. Merry Christmas. Planning to grow your hair like Ranbir Kapoor an animal? I don't know. It's the honest truth. The people have find me more approachable with the long hair, and that's why I've been doing it. It's that simple. People actually like look at me and want to talk to me. Strangers want to talk to me. I'm like, oh, hey, cool. Like, I'm approachable. I'll just keep this as, you know. I don't know where to take this. I saw someone at the gym with like really long hair, and I'm like, well, that doesn't look very nice. But it maybe just didn't look nice on him. Maybe long flowing hair on me would look all right. I have no idea. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of winging it, to be honest with you. So, Amon Trivedi. Also, one thing that thank you for all the supers, by the way, Amon Trivedi. Also, one thing that irked me was how it justified illegal immigration and puts forth the economic benefits of increased migrants when, ironically, a primary cause of poverty in India is just that. Lol. Okay. Immigration is a very complicated conversation. The fact of the matter is, like, India is very protective of its borders. As the movie illustrated, like, India is very protective of its borders. For good reason. You know, we live in a different era. What Rajkumar Hirani was saying at the end of the film of, like, how there used to not be borders, there used to not be visas. Now, all of a sudden, it's like, dude, what's the hope here? Because people aren't just going to throw this out, you know? Realistically, it doesn't make any sense to just let people come in willy-nilly. That's dangerous because of what the film said, which is terrorism. That's a real thing. That's a real threat. 2611 is a thing. The thing, like, you have to be careful. So, I don't know how well visas and border protection and all that stuff is actually combating terrorism. I think it is, and we just don't hear about the things because, generally speaking, if they are successfully eliminating terrorist threats, you're not going to hear about that. You're only hearing about when it actually goes wrong, when shit hits the fan, right? And so I don't know what to make of that aspect of his messaging it is peculiar, right, from a certain perspective that like the wealthy are the ones that, if you can bring in $1 million, you can hang out in London, right? In Canada, it's a similar, not to that degree, but there's a similar thing. It's like if you have a certain GPA, a certain thing where you can bring value to the economy, you can come in. But you can't just come in otherwise. And I understand the frustration there. And I understand the messaging there. But if you're a government, what is the best move for you? Like, and your country, and the betterment of the people in your country. Because if you just keep letting people come in, you could be inviting problems. At the same time, you know, the people who come in are adding to the economy as well. And so, Lockshit asks, what is overall review? Am I late? Yes, most of everything I had to say was covered in the first 20 minutes, I'd say. Maybe 30. And so, yeah, if you just want to scroll back, you can see if you can, like, I think I did a pretty good job of like getting all my thoughts out in a relatively short time span, all things considered, you know. Where are we? Chuck Bertowski. Then maybe we can do 2 Patreon hangouts next month. Yeah, sure. Princess Consuela Banana Effect. Sorry for the rant, but on the other hand, Solar was a big surprise. It was almost as good as RRR. Oh, wow. Looking forward to your thoughts. I'm a little bit peeved with Solar because I actually was trying to book my tickets for tomorrow. And I have a monthly thing I use, which was fine for DUNKI. I have a monthly thing I use where I, it's called the AMC app. AMC is a theater chain over here. And I use the app to buy tickets. I spend $25 a month on this app, and it just covers the tickets. So I can watch as many movies as I want. Every once in a while, you have a movie that is excluded from AMC. And I'm like, the fuck? Why? And so I got a little bit peeved with Solar, and I didn't book the ticket yet, but I'll probably watch it very soon. So, Simran Ahuja, should I give this movie a miss? Undecided so far. I would say it's worth a watch. Just, you know, lower your expectations is all I can say. It's not the best movie, but I'd say it's still worth watching. So, let's see. Well, Achara is out of town right now. She's with her family at the moment. Princess Consuela Banana Effect is a Solar fan. That is why he's hating DUNKI. I disagree with that, but I can see why you're thinking that. Are you going to the gym these days, or like any physical activities? You look good, Yar. Oh, well, thank you. I am going to the gym. Not as much as I'd like to, but yes, I am going to the gym. We can also be because we've seen too much SRK this year. I don't think that's a thing. I think it's actually quite cool that we had 3 SRK films back to back. That's totally reasonable, Jabby. Context, rate DUNKI out of 10. Well, I don't know what I said that's reasonable, but thank you. What the heck? You'll definitely be happy with the editing in Solar, maybe barring a few fight scenes. It breathes. Okay, cool. Good. Chuck Bertowski. What do you think about the Criterion Collection? I think it's a little overrated. But I have some of those movies. Or used to. So, Amon Trivedi. Random question. If 3 Idiots was released today, do you think it would get the international acclaim RRR did? No. I don't think it would. I don't know. Maybe it would. But RRR... I don't know how to put this, dude. RRR has a vibe that has more international appeal than 3 Idiots does. It's got everything it has, all the parts combined, and the execution can reach across borders more easily than 3 Idiots. That being said, 3 Idiots destroyed in China, right? So I'm like, what do I know? I just know RRR did great globally. Like, it destroyed. So, I have not watched Sam Bahadur, but I would like to. So, any other questions in the regular chat or the super chats about DUNKI? Bahubali 3 is making dude. Okay. I think I went into DUNKI with very high expectations and then ended up being disappointed. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it is Rajkumar Hirani. Like, he's done phenomenal films, so I can totally see that. What's your favorite SRK movie from this year? It's not DUNKI. I enjoyed the other two. Nilhal Konda. Thank you so much for your very generous super chat. That was very kind of you. You didn't have to do that. You definitely made my evening. And you might have covered the cost of the ticket or my AMC pass. I love their motivations. For a guy to protect his love, to save their house. For Hardy to throw away everything to help the family of a guy who lost his life to save his. That was moving. I loved Hardy Singh as a character. I loved him as a character too. I actually agree with you on a number of the elements that you're laying out. I just don't think it should have been SRK. I really don't think it should have been him. I think it should have just been a different actor. It could have been Vicky Kaushal. It could have been anyone else. I feel like that was bad casting. Because like I'm watching and I'm going, okay, wait, how old is he supposed to be? Okay, he's playing her love interest, but like, you know what I would have liked? Okay, here's how you make it work with SRK. Because Rajkumar Hirani really wanted to work with him, right? So, you had this whole premise with SRK finds Taapsee Pannu, or hold on. So he defends Taapsee Pannu at the restaurant, and then then she's like, oh, I know the guy you're looking for. That's my brother. And then they go to the house, and there's a whole thing at the house, and the whole thing with the tape recorder. Which, do we even hear what's on the tape recorder? I can't remember. I don't think we do. All that stuff, you just throw that out. Like, it's way too much. Just cut to, okay, she needs to learn wrestling. He's a wrestling instructor. Why do you want to learn wrestling? And like you start there. Their bond can start there. You know? It makes way more sense to me. Because like he's older and he's a wrestling instructor, and like, okay, I get that. Like, I'm buying that. I buy him as an instructor, and they kind of have an inappropriate thing going on. You know, she's supposed to be a student, blah blah blah. But like when he finds out she's gonna leave, he's like, let me help you. And then he abandons all this so he can be with her. You know, I think that would have been a nicer premise for like their bond, rather than all of this crazy setup that they were doing. I think the film was doing way too much at the top to get things going. So, or you know, he could find out she's trying to learn English, so he goes and joins the English class. Like there's like things that could have done that would have been more effective, in my opinion, with getting that bond going. And you could have cut out like 20 minutes at the beginning of the movie. Okay, so. Where are we? Chuck Bertowski. Italian neo-realism or French New Wave? I don't know, dude. That went over me. Kartikeya Sharma. Railway Men. Watch along in future. First YRF web series. All male leads. First collabs with YRF. I don't think it's going to happen. I have a... how do I put this? I need to like prep myself for what I'm about to say. Okay. So, I have established a friendship with YRF, okay? However, their rules are their rules. And even Jabby is not able to get around them. It's that simple. So, I have to be very, 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 very careful with YRF material. There are certain exceptions that they have made for me, but generally speaking, Jabby Kawai does not get a pass with YRF reactions. And so, it's highly unlikely that you would see me do a web series reaction to Railwaymen. However, there could be a watch along and a review, and that all depends on Achara. She's the captain of the ship right now. You guys are about to find out why she's the captain of the ship very, very soon. Amantrabedi. My last message before I sign off. Do you think Amir would have done a better job in this movie in SRK's role? I too feel SRK was a miscast and kept wondering how Raju Hirani would have dealt with Amir. I love Amir Khan, obviously. I think Amir Khan is one of the greatest actors. And so, that said, I don't think this was the role for him either. I think it needed to be someone younger, or they changed the premise. This whole premise with the soldier and the brother and all that stuff is too much, dude. Like, why is that in there? Okay, so you're trying to establish that SRK is a badass. If you set him up as the wrestling instructor, he's a badass. I buy him. Like, oh, who knows what is in this past? He's a badass. He knows shit. That's all you need. The whole thing with the tent scene with the gun, I got a little bit over the top when he shot, because the friend is like this, right? And the other soldier is behind him, and SRK shot through between the arm and his ear, and I'm like, he gunslinged that shit. That's how he did it. I'm like, come on. So it's okay. What are we doing here? Let me see. Thank you, Almonte Ravetti, for all your supers, and I hope I answered your question thoroughly. All your questions. Princess Consuela Banana Feck. Trust me, if you asked me before December 21st which of the two is going to be better, I would have said DUNKI by a mile. I'm a huge Hirani fan, and I despise KGF 2. I'm genuinely surprised it's the opposite. I am definitely excited now for Solar. Renish Pargi. Raju Hirani said publicly that while writing Three Idiots and PK, they were dealing with popular sentiment so audience can relate quickly. Okay. Nihal Konda, thank you for your generous super. What did you think about Hardy figuring out a way to get Manu back home in a plane instead of another DUNKI trip? Maybe I was too immersed in the movie, but I didn't see that coming. To be honest with you, I thought that was really cool the way that was all done, because I didn't know that was going to happen. Like, it was all a bit contrived. It's like, why didn't you just tell them? But like, the way it all worked out, I thought was pretty cool, because I thought that they were being betrayed. But I thought they were being betrayed for money or something. And then, like, come to find out, no, that guy was in cahoots with SRK to get him on the plane. I thought that was cool how they used the system against them. So, Renish Pargi. But for DUNKI, definitely deals with strong sentiment, not popular sentiment, and we can see result. No engaging connection at all. All right, let me think about that for a second. It definitely deals with strong sentiment and not popular sentiment, and we can see the result. No engaging connection at all. I don't think that's related. Causation is not correlation. Or correlation is not causation. I got it backwards. Correlation is not causation. Those are two different things. I don't think that's the reason it's not engaging. Chuck Bertowski, what do you think about Israel and Palestine? Why are you asking me this, dude? What is the matter with you? Go to your room. Shoop. Why would a random wrestling instructor risk his life for Taapsee and not a guy whose life was saved by her brother? Because it's a movie. That's why. It's a movie. And he fell in love. That's why. How many movies have you seen where a guy risks life and all, it puts himself in a perilous situation for some broad? It's a movie. That's what happens in a movie. He fell in love with her. They went to English class together. He finds reasons to fall in love. You telling me the only reason he fell in love with her in the movie anyway? It's about love, Don't overthink it. Plenty of people in this chat would have done the thing I just laid out. Okay, if you're a wrestling instructor, you fell in love with a pretty girl, then you kind of follow her to her English class. Oh, I'm in the English class too. I wanted to learn English. You're just using these excuses. You're finding out what she's trying to do. She's trying to get out of the country to go to blah blah blah. Oh, I don't want to be left behind. I want to be with her. I want to marry her. You try to convince her to stay. She's no, I got to go for these reasons. Okay, I'm going with you then. No, you got to be here. This is your wrestling. Your wrestling squad is here. No, fuck that. I want to be with you, boo. You know what I'm saying? Jabby, why haven't you watched the teaser for Bachelor Party? Because honestly, no one asked me to. No one talked to me about it. That's why. I didn't even realize it would happen. You guys found out about it before I did. So, quick maniac in entertainment. In LSC, Amir doesn't look 20 years. Suspension required. I don't even... What? Oh, I see. Oh, suspension of disbelief required. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that wouldn't work. So, usually people of Haryana and Punjab goes to DUNKI. I live in Haryana, and the posters about visas and stuff is really common, and the whole theater here was losing it. Well, there you go. It's accurate in that way, take a notepad tomorrow while watching Solar. I don't do that. I let the movie hit me, and then I you know, what comes out comes out. So, anyway, anything else that you guys want to cover with regards to DUNKI? Because otherwise, I'm gonna sign off here. So you guys have, throw in your questions. Best way to immigrate to America: go to Goa and beg American girls to get you a green card. One of them might be. That's entirely possible, actually. Hi, darling. When will you review Solar? I don't know. Maybe tomorrow. I have no idea. It's not written in stone. So, all right. I'm not seeing anything else pop up in the supers or in the regular chat. Final thoughts on DUNKI. This whole thing has been my final thoughts on DUNKI. The final thoughts aspect of this live stream has been going on for like an hour. I'm kind of upset they didn't dive more into SRK as a soldier. And the only real scene we got was when he was killed, when he killed the Iranian soldiers. I have thoughts on that. So, I didn't mind that. I didn't want it to turn into an action film. I thought it was actually cool how, the whole thing is they set up he's a soldier, and then it got used wisely there. Him being a soldier isn't just, his punches and kicks and the bang bang. Him being a soldier is also his intelligence, his ability to assess the situation and lead. Him as a soldier is so much more complex than just the bang bangs. So I didn't mind that. I thought it was fine. Could they have dived into it a little bit more? Yeah, because for most of the movie, I kind of forgot he was a soldier. But when it came up, it made sense. You know what I mean? Let's see. Lakshay Bhasin. Would you like to do a watch-along of Jogi, a Diljit Dosanjh movie about an important event in history? Watch the trailer for more. That sounds cool. Chuck Matelski. I broke up with my Thai girlfriend today. She was a little bit too cocky for my taste. Well, it sounds like you messed up, dude. Because you've been single for a long time. Nihal Konda. Any advice to Indian crowd on not making this Solar versus DUNKI rather than Solar and DUNKI, like Barbenheimer? Dunkar? Sulky? I don't know. You can't combine the two, dude. It's not going to work. I see what you're saying, though. I don't know how to... every time I bring up this whole South and... or this South and North stuff, or the industry quarrels, people go, "Oh, we don't really mean it. We're just having fun." I'm like, okay. It seems like y'all are serious, though. So it's hard to know. Jai Vishnu, thank you for allowing me to be your very first super chat. That was pretty cool. Yeah, but to what Nihal Konda is saying, I'm inclined to agree. It's like, I think that, okay, recently I watched Jigar Thanda XX, and in the film, they had the term Pandya. And I think that's a great term, And I hope for more Pandya films, films that are like for all of India. It's not just one region, it's India. Pandya. It's all regions. And I think that's great, So that's my feeling about what you're saying, Nihal Konda. I'm inclined to agree with you. So, your views on the SRK courtroom performance. We talked about that already in this stream. I thought it was fine. I just thought the whole thing was a little bit contrived. I was distracted by that. But his performance was fine. It didn't do a heck of a lot for me. But like his performance on the roof scene at the end did a lot for me. Daniel Javed, I didn't want it to be an action movie, but after they got to London, they completely let go of the fact that he was a soldier. Was he discharged because of his DUNKI? They should have went into that. They could have very well gone into that. I guess the film was more just focused on the adventure at that point. It's... The thing I've learned making short films and stuff is that you have a certain perspective on things, right? And you're not seeing all the things that people are like, that people are going to say, how come you didn't talk about that? How come you didn't talk about that? How come you didn't talk about that? You're not really thinking about like what you're not talking about. You're thinking about what you are talking about, if that makes any sense. So I get what you're saying. I'm not too mad about it, but as someone who's made short films, it's like sometimes you don't realize what you're not talking about. So you get all the way to the finish line. It's like, oh wait, we didn't cover like a whole lot of things over here. Heh hoo hoo. You know, a secret thing that the director revealed later in the production was that you wasted your time reading this comment. Ha ha! That was great. Daniel Javed, what do you have to say to the people that are saying this is the worst of Rajkumar Hirani? Everyone's entitled to their opinion, dude. I can see what they're saying. So, you know, I don't know if I agree, but maybe I do. I'm not sure. It might be that I agree, but that his worst film isn't necessarily like the worst film ever. It's just his worst film amongst his films. You know what I mean? Like, he's made some stellar movies. That's a high bar. So, okay, it's his worst film, but like, if you're striking out like sixers every time, you know what I mean? So, all right. Sapo Tapo, I might have to put you in timeout if you keep acting weird. All right. Okay. I think that, okay. Bishwash Ragami. He said, come on. If he was doing it for love, then you would have said, heck no, I'm not risking my life for this bitch. Why would anyone do that? Because it's a movie. It's a movie. And I have, like, put myself, not like, it's a movie, dude. I don't think I would have said that, what you just accused me of. That I don't think I would have said that. Someone falls in love, you do dumb shit. That's what you do when you're in love. You do dumb things. It just happens. You know what I mean? Okay, I think we've covered this to death. So I'm gonna conclude it here, unless like some super chat or regular chat sneaks in that's worth. Nope. Okay. So, you guys, thank you so much for hanging with me. It's me and my compadre here. Just kidding. Thanks so much for hanging with me tonight. I'm gonna go to bed, and hopefully I'll enjoy Solar more than DUNKI. We'll see what happens. I didn't hate DUNKI. It moved me. I definitely felt I had tears in my eyes at the end of the movie. I just didn't love it. I liked it. I liked it. It was cool. It was like, you know, it's that kind of feeling. Yeah, it's a good time pass. Go watch it. Yeah, it moved me. I thought it had things to say. I had feelings about it, and so, yeah, I'd still recommend it. You know, if I'm talking to a friend, I'd still recommend it, even though it's not my favorite film of the year. So y'all be good. Thanks so much for hanging with me, and thank you to all the super chats. Really appreciate you guys. Peace out.